Morning and welcome to today's daily peace practice from the World Congress of Peace. I'm Tammy Scarlett, and I am coming to you today with a peace practice from the Christian tradition. And actually, today it's a little more of a hybrid tradition because I would love for us to be able to spend some space in a peaceful meditative space. But I want to integrate some meditation, but I also want to bring to you a little bit of history from the Christian tradition as well. So, for me, growing up with the Christian tradition and being someone who knows and loves and tries to emulate Jesus in the way that I am and the way that I be and show up in the world, um, Christmas was something that was talked about for me in a way that had nothing to do with presents. In fact, growing up, we didn't have very much money. And so we would sometimes get like a Christmas gift. Um, I remember there were a couple Christmases like that growing up. It wasn't about the presents, and we were taught it wasn't about the presents because there weren't means for it to be about the presents. So for me, it wasn't a commercialized experience. Um, it wasn't the holiday season swooping in and then it being all about gifting and trees and Santa or anything like that. But I was taught that there's a saying in Christianity that says Jesus is the reason for the season. And that was kind of the reminder phrase that would stick with us and remind us that it wasn't about any of these kind of hyped up commercialized things or about material things, but it really was about the meaning and the message. Now, then, if we want to dial it back to looking at this historically in terms of December 25th being Christmas, um, December 25th isn't actually necessarily the birth date of Jesus, but that is what's being celebrated in a symbolic way. So December 25th is held as the celebration of the birth of Jesus and what that did historically and for really humanity at that time. So I do celebrate that in my heart because it is something that is worth celebrating, I think. And this morning when I woke up, um, a song just popped in my head, which is hilarious because I haven't really gotten, I know we're so close to Christmas, but I haven't had time to get in the the whole swing of things in terms of Christmas this year. So I haven't been listening to any Christmas music or anything like that. But I woke up and just pretty immediately started hearing the word sleep in heavenly peace in my mind. And that song is about the birth of Jesus and the way that there was peace in that moment. So the lyrics are very beautiful. Um, if you listen to the song about all being still, and who's present and what's happening, even attributes of Jesus as a baby being mild, which you can assume means mild tempered. um but that heavenly peace, what does that really mean? What would it mean to sleep in a heavenly peace? When I think about it and lean into it, I kind of want to curl up in a little cocoon in a blanket and get wrapped up in an angel's wing and fall asleep. um because it does feel like something that would be so loving and warm and calm and safe. Um, there's also a verse in the Bible that talks about peace that passes all understanding. And um, that is talked about as the peace that God provides, because the understanding that's being referred to is human understanding, meaning that with all of our whereabouts and and facility faculties that we have within this being, um, we maybe wouldn't touch exactly how high and deep and wide and far that peace is, that love is, that is God. Um, and so that also in some ways is a peaceful concept, because you can think about it in terms of the ocean of peace that is outside oneself, and how that might be safe to lean into. So this morning, what I thought it might be nice for us to do, I'm not going to play Christmas songs for you, but I thought it might be nice for us to set some peace intentions, and very specifically intentionally, for that heavenly peace, that peace that passes all understanding, to hold that on the planet, and to ask that that be anchored today, um, for now, but also backwards in time and forwards in time, and that it reaches to these spaces that are beyond our comprehension, or beyond what we could do with our own faculties or understanding. I desire that in my heart for humanity. And I think that many of you do as well. And it's powerful when we come together and anchor that together and ask for that together. So I hope you'll join me in this. I'm going to turn off my screen for a moment, and I'm going to play a little bit of sound just so we have the vibration and frequency of peace this morning. It's not particularly a Christian tradition, but I want to incorporate that with what we're anchoring this morning, um, to be able to share it with you. So join me in this peace intention. And before we dive into this peace intention, I'll just need some screen sharing capabilities. Bear with me a moment.
Tammy, there's no sound coming out from the video.
Okay, sorry, I meant to fade that out. I'm having a couple technical difficulties this morning, but thank you for sharing that space with me in a peace practice, for just leaning into what that heavenly peace and that peace that passes all understanding might be, at least scratching the surface of it and beginning to understand it in ourselves, in our souls, in our bodies, in our DNA, in the ways that we think and that we move and that we breathe, to truly embody peace and be peace. And that's what I wanted to mention next for our next few minutes of meditation together, for us to really set an intention of being peace and the different ways that that might look when we embody peace. And at UNIFY, we talk a lot about inner peace to outer peace and how true peace begins from within. And I really do believe that that is true. And yet, I don't think that there's an arrival point that, any one person on the planet is peaceful versus all the other people who are not peaceful. I do think that we are constantly becoming and we're constantly growing, and we are in a state of renewal at all times. Our bodies are constantly creating new cells while other ones fade out. And so we're constantly renewing and becoming and being in a new way. So may all of those aspects of our bodies and beings and selves be infused with that peace, be connected to that peace with an intention of peace and a desire for peace, so that we can learn new ways of being peace and embodying peace on the planet. Don't think that where we're headed as humanity is going to be knit together with old solutions, not to throw out where we've been, because I think that it's so important, vitally important, to not throw the baby out with the bathwater, to hang on to those things that have come before us and honor them and learn from them, the good and the bad. But I think that moving forward, we will need some new ways of being. And as much as we might know that and feel that in our hearts, there isn't exactly a roadmap with steps 1 through 3 that we're following specifically. And so that means that in order for us to present those new ways, we have to learn them by being. Something needs to awaken in us so that we can recognize things in a new way, have a paradigm shift from within. But these can be micro paradigm shifts that may even happen subtly and over time, but they make a great difference because in subtlety there's power. So um, for this next meditative few minutes, let's set an intention for that inner peace and for welcoming whatever adjustments that means as we renew, as we continually renew. So let this be a constant trajectory for each of us. Thank you for that. I hope that you're feeling peaceful on the inside. For the last few minutes together today, I wanted to touch on another aspect of Christmas and the holidays. And I actually also had the beautiful experience of living with some friends of mine in Boston for a while, who were Orthodox Jewish, and uh, and in living with them over the holiday season, got to practice the days of Christmas, lighting the menorah each night, having specific foods, and also going to synagogue and hearing some of the sacred teachings and sacred words. And it was also a very beautiful tradition. So I'd love to um, bring honor to that as well today. My that friend that I lived with has since passed. So sending love and gratitude and celebration for her light and life, and gratitude for that experience. Um, but one thing about all of that, about those experiences and the holiday season in general and Christmas, is that typically we spend it in some form of togetherness. So for these next few minutes, I would love for us to um, intentionally infuse our thoughts and actions for the coming week with love and peace, and kind of pre-think into all the people that we might come across and the way that those rooms will be when we're seeing one another, and what kinds of conversations they'll be infused with, full of what kinds of light will we bring to tables and living rooms and floor cushions and wherever we're spending our time, um, that everybody's, heart and faces are so bright and valued, and um, just having an intention of peace and love that goes before us in all that we do over this week. And also uh, sending love and peace for those that may be having a difficult time at this time of year. There are, there are a lot of people struggling in the world with the rates of depression and anxiety. Suicide rates have been increasing actually over the past 2 years. And the holidays is usually a very difficult time for people that are in these challenging situations. So I would love it also if, while we're thinking about all the beautiful togetherness that we'll be feeling over the holidays this next week, if we can also set an intention of love and just a truly angelic reach to those people who might have broken hearts or be overcome with loneliness or feel like they don't have anywhere to go or might be feeling like they're hitting rock bottom. Because right along with peace and love is hope. And it's something that the human spirit is capable of, but it also is something that we're meant to be for one another. And it's just really setting an intention for that within ourselves, but in a way that ripples out everywhere on the planet. Would you do that with me right now? Thank you so much for joining me in that beautiful, peaceful space, for coming together and intending to know peace and to be peace, to learn peace, to become peace, and truly to share peace with one another. I am wishing you all love and light and hope and peace for this holiday season. Thank you so much for joining the World Congress of Peace in today's peace practice. So much love